You nestle under woven blankets as the world outside darkens. The air smells of distant incense and warm stone. A single candle flickers on your nightstand, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Outside, the desert wind sighs. In your room, old books rustle quietly on wooden shelves. Tonight, you will travel not into sugar plums or soft dreams, but through four long-forgotten histories. Each will feel heavy and strange, yet comforting in their raw honesty. They are tales of survival in darkness, of everyday struggles in ancient cities, of horrifying secrets hidden in the sky, and of a lone voice echoing against politics. As sleep begins to tug at your eyelids, you hear the first whisper of a story, a flicker of flame guiding you into the past. You are Amir. Heavy stone corridors wind above and below you. All around, parchment scrolls line towering shelves. The Library of Alexandria, once the greatest in the world. Tonight it is empty except for you. You hold a small oil lantern, its flame sputtering against darkness. Every breath you exhale is warm and dusty. The air smells of papyrus, camphor, and ancient ink. You can almost feel the weight of those books. Historians say the library once held anywhere from 40,000 to 400,000 scrolls, and those endless stories press in on you now as you slip between marble columns. Egypt was ideal for papyrus plants, so knowledge sprawled as far as the Nile. In this hush, even the dim golden light from the lantern seems alive. It crackles softly, like the whisper of secrets. Suddenly, the lamp's flame twists and rises, casting a jitter of shadows. A voice seems to dance in the darkness. It murmurs names long dead: Hypatia, Hero, Eratosthenes. Under your breath, you remember how Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the earth, an earth that now feels as narrow as this lamplit chamber. Your heart jumps at each breathy name, but the voice from the flame is steady. It knows the stories of the past, and tonight it will share them with you. Long ago, this library was alive. Rooms of scholars talking by flickering oil lamps, their Greek and Egyptian tongues mixing in echoing halls. Their torches would have smelled of lotus and sesame. You imagine that smell now, sharp and sweet. In this secret hour, you tease yourself with memories. Perhaps Julius Caesar did set fire to the place, or so they say, but even historians admit it was likely an accident. The flame seems to laugh. History is not so neat. Instead, tonight it guides you deeper, hallway by hallway, scroll by scroll. You remember why you were here? Yesterday you were a mere stable boy among merchants, but you stole one precious thing from the guard, this brass lantern. It was heavy with oil and hope. You fled into the city's ruins, heart pounding, just to be here with these voices in wax and papyrus. Now, as you crouch under a collapsed arch, the smoke of incense candles long gone mixes with the fire in your belly. You shiver, not from cold, for a woolen shawl is snug around you, but with awe and fear. The flame flickers over an unrolled scroll lying on a fallen table. You crawl forward and dare to read a single line of dusty Greek. It speaks of Archimedes' mirrors, of Cleopatra's speeches, of Herodotus recording a papyrus fragment. The words snap you back. Knowledge is power, but in darkness, it might be poison. Suddenly you hear a distant footstep, an echo in the empty hall. A rat scurries past. A stone shifts above you. Survival is near again. You hold your breath, extinguish the lamp, and press yourself under the desk. A moment later, the danger passes. You breathe out. The candle must always come back to light the way. Carefully, you relight it. Warmth and sight return. The flame's voice continues, softer now. It tells you of careless kings and fierce librarians. It spills light onto words by Eratosthenes and Hipparchus, reminding you of their genius. It tells you to carry these secrets safely, because out there in the darkness, between those very columns, something watched you too. Not knowledge, but thirst. In a far corner, hidden behind broken statues, a cold, mute shape moved. A city guard dog, drawn by the flicker. You feel its presence, even as the lantern warms your hands. Blood pounds in your ears, but the flame whispers again. Deeper. You steel yourself and crawl onward, deeper into the library's catacombs. Tactile stone walls close around you. Here, you recall, Athena's wisdom once flowed freely. Athena, whose own symbol was a lantern-like lamp. Now her lamp is in your hands. Every stifled cough, every flick of the flame could be discovery. Yet you press on. You scrape your knees on rubble, touch chipped inkpots, and imagine the chatter of scholars that once filled the air. The lamp's glow dances on fresco fragments. A map of stars, perhaps an illustration for Aratus's poetry, or a formula from Euclid. At last, you reach the heart of the library. You stumble through a narrow door into a room of dead quiet, where one grand lectern remains. On it, a single bound volume is open, an atlas of the ancient world. The flame's whisper turns urgent. Fingers trembling, you touch the page. It is a constellation chart, labeled with names like Leo, Draco, Cassiopeia, all in Greek. Each name thins out like a prayer on your tongue. The lamp casts giant, spidery shadows. You realize how small you are. Understanding slowly falls. This is the flame's gift. It has guided you to the core of all knowledge, the stories mankind told in the sky itself. These stars you think you know, so shining, so distant, have seen empires rise and fall. They have seen your family's village tossed into dust by soldiers. If you live through tonight, you too will come to name these stars. The flame hushes. You bow your head, lips moving in silent prayer of thanks and dread. In the stillness, the only light now is the humble lantern you carry, and a cosmic map in human hands. After witnessing history's depth, you step back into the cool night air. Your muscles ache and your lungs itch from dust, yet no dinner ever tasted so sweet. You laugh softly. Surviving forbidden libraries was not on your to-do list for adolescence. Back home in your tangled blankets, you chuckle at yourself. Who needs gold coins when knowledge itself can set you aflame? Maybe tomorrow you'll toast bread on this lamp and pretend it's nothing. For now, you'll smirk at the absurdity. Little Amir, ultimate bookworm, who's more likely to leave a burned-out lamp behind than the usual bedtime story. You're no longer Amir or even human. You are an ancient olive tree standing on the Acropolis of Athens. Roots sunk deep, you feel the city's heartbeat through each breeze. Long ago, a goddess planted you here. Athena herself struck the earth and gave birth to this very olive tree. Zeus blessed your silvery leaves as a gift of peace. You gave men the olive tree, and with it light, nourishment, and an eternal symbol of peace, he said. Since then, you have watched centuries unfold. Morning. The first light of dawn bathes your mossy trunk in honey gold. Morning dew drips on your leaves. You breathe in the cool scent of damp earth and wild thyme. Below, a baker lights his clay oven. The smell of wet wood burning creeps up to you. You feel the weight of his eyes as he smashes olives for oil, a bounty from your kin. He wipes sweat from his brow, scowls at a lump of unneeded dough, and mumbles about how poorly the grains were grown this year. You hear every grumble, every clank of his shovel on granite. Midday. By noon, the sun bleaches the sky. Your branches shade the feet of passing philosophers and potters alike. A potter has left a broken vase by your roots. Sarcasm about democracy, he says. From his vantage, you watch him slam lumps of clay on his wheel until dusk. Without complaining, he mixes olive oil, perhaps from you, into the glaze. The philosopher pauses beneath you, struggling to remember the word for truth in his speech. He plucks an olive from a neighboring branch, chewing in thought, then tosses the pit aside. You marvel at this daily absurdity. He argues about eternal forms while eating your fruit. Afternoon. By high noon, even the crickets hush. Birds rest in your branches, pecking cool olives. You feel the dry summer air. Greece is a thirsty land. A boy runs by, head down, fresh bread in hand. His sister chides him for spilling crumbs. You overhear gossip. The city is falling into debt, says one voice. A new war with Sparta looms, shrieks another. You stand firm, indifferent, as you always have. One afternoon, you notice an owl nestling in your boughs. An ancient bird, just like you, both slow to anger. Evening. As dusk arrives, torchlight flickers on stone walls. Citizens gather to drink at a taverna below. The wine sweetens your breeze. A man returns from the agora, eyebrows singed from sunshine. He mutters, "Democracy," under his breath like a curse, spitting at the dust. You wonder, did the goddess hope for more from this city? Still, you stay silent. The city sleeps at your roots. Tiresome tales repeating daily like a cypress puppet show. Night's quiet returns the scene to silence. You sigh, if an olive tree can sigh, as moonlight settles on your leaves. You recall Athena's words. The olive was meant to bring light and peace, but most nights you just bring shade. Tomorrow it all starts again. No audience, no applause, just endless days blending together. Your branches sway sleepily. Perhaps this is your fate, witness to an unchanging world. The city grows quiet under starry sky, and suddenly the air feels different, colder, ancient. Away from the city's bustle, you sense shifting winds blowing in myths, yet spoken. Close your eyes and the olive tree's silhouette fades. Now you stand atop a dark Roman rooftop, looking beyond Athens. Something in the quiet night asks you to listen closer, to see further into the sky. A chill of destiny falls. Your next journey is among the stars. You are Lucius. On a flat rooftop in old Rome, you lie back on a rough blanket of coarse wool and tilt your head up to the vast night sky. The stone is still warm from the day. In the distance, flickering street torches dim under the stars. You give each point of light in the heavens your own name. Jupiter for that bright one, Mars for the reddish flicker, Venus for the lady star that hangs like a candle. Each time you say a name, a soft wind seems to murmur answers back. Jupiter, father of gods, you whisper, and a low rumble of thunder seems to answer. Jupiter was known to hold thunderbolts and lead kings. You remember legends told in the Forum. But the truth behind that thunder is the pounding beat of war drums. In your ear, the night wind sighs. I am the sword in the dirt. I judge men. You shiver. Saturn, you call out to a pale fading star, named for the old god who devoured his children. A cool breath washes over you. Saturn tells you, I learned them young, lessons in blood. You suddenly recall the tale of Spartacus, a former slave who led an uprising of 70,000 men against Rome. You hear cries of that old rebellion on the wind. The sharp whip cracks on the air. So many were caught. 6,000 prisoners were left on crosses as a warning. You tighten your cloak. Even the stars share a secret. Mercy is rare in this empire. Mars, you murmur toward a red flicker. The night yawns and a ghostly chant flows back. War. War everywhere. I sow crows. The sense of blood and ash overwhelms you. Mars once was a god of fields and spring, but now he is the god of soldiers marching off to die. You recall how the Romans crucified captured slaves and enemies, often those with no rights or nothing to lose. One star twinkles to the south. It seems to shimmer with the shape of a cross. You realize crucifixion was the fate for many who dared oppose Rome's laws. The sky itself remembers. One by one, you name the stars. Minerva's star, Mercury's star, Pluto's star. Each time the heavens whisper a myth and a lesson. Venus, you smile, thinking of love and beauty, but the voice that answers is sly. Beauty masks betrayal. Your mind flashes to Palatine intrigues, poisoned wine, whispered rumors at the baths. You feel betrayed by gossip. Minerva, You think of wisdom, but here, knowledge binds you, boy. Suddenly you fear that even this starlight is a trap. Knowledge that makes men targets. Neptune. Blue sparkles answer in waves. The depths are patient. You shiver in the cool night air. Never trust the calm sea, say the ancients. The Milky Way, path of the sea, a glimmering trail of stars, reaches the zenith. It feels alive. You sit up, pulse racing. Is it ships on the Tiber? Or something watching from above? Lucius, you realize the sky's voices have turned your childhood star naming into something heavy. Each star-named legend hides a darker truth. The Empire's brightness in the sky is smeared with fear and sacrifice. You remember the old Roman proverb about virtue and askance. Sometimes the brightest lights have the heaviest shadows. In the quiet, you speak again, softly. Save us. The winds only answer by rattling the tiles beneath you. Tonight you learned what the books cannot teach. There's a thin line between wonder and horror. Even lying safe on a roof, you feel how small you are, how deep those lessons go. The only thing you can do is whisper a soft prayer into the night air to carry your own hopes among those cold stars. The whispering stars fade as dawn comes. You climb down to the streets, heart pounding. Rome is waking. Merchants shout, children laugh. A capricious dawn. But you carry a heavy secret above your head now. Soon, another voice calls to prayer in another way, through markets and mosques rather than myths. You are Yasmina. In the still pre-dawn sand near a small village outside Mecca, you stand barefoot on the flat roof of your home. The call to prayer is about to begin. Your palm presses on sun-warmed tiles. Faint stars linger. Around you, palms rustle. In the silence, the wind carries voices of ages. The desert is speaking. All night, the wind has whispered to you of ancient times. It tells of jinn tales and prophets, stories of caravan shadows, of times before Islam when spirits danced under the date palms. These voices threaded themselves into your dreams. Now, as the first star fades, you draw a deep breath. Tradition tells you to begin the adhan, the call to prayer, with Allahu Akbar. This call echoes 5 times a day, as faithful generations have done before. In the earliest days, even Prophet Muhammad's community gave the call from rooftops and house doorways, just as you do. You feel the cool tile under your fingertips and open your mouth. The words come out. The melody smooth as the dunes around you. God is greatest. Reverberations move out over sleeping village like a gentle wave. This moment fills you with quiet power. You are the voice of faith here at dawn. Out of the darkness, your parents taught you the Quran's first lines. Now they swirl through your own lips. A rustling stirs. The elders have emerged onto the sand. They lower their heads and listen to your clear notes. One old sheikh steps forward, eyes wet. He lost his sight to the plague, they say, but your voice paints colors in the sky for him. You finish the prayer call, and for a heartbeat, everyone just breathes. Later, you learn what happened. The villagers feel eased. We can see our prayers reaching heaven, they say, almost afraid to speak it aloud. Not everyone welcomes such influence. A merchant's son, once cruel in the marketplace, remarks on how your voice brought peace to grumpy faces. At the next council meeting, he suggests building a small minaret for you. In your shock, you quietly correct him. Minarets were not used until centuries later. Even Muhammad's era mosques had none. They prayed from roof and courtyard. A few laugh, others hush. Soon, word of the girl with the warm morning voice spreads. A traveling qadi, judge from Medina, hears and invites you to sing prayers in the city's great mosque to show that even a woman may call her sisters to worship. After all, Aisha, the Prophet's wife, once gave the adhan to women herself. You are honored and scared. Your family worries. Father inspects your meals for poison. Mother checks your words for secrets. In Medina's grand courtyard, you stand on cool marble facing thousands. Opposite, men chant from the front row. You are among the women. You raise your voice. It rings out, crisp and compassionate. You recite the ancient verses, and many weep. But from the crowd floats a murmur of unease. Some elders whisper, "What if her voice empowers the ignorant? Who guides her?" That night, under the same stars Lucas once named, political shadows whirl. Jealous clerics say only men can issue the call. They speak of hadiths, sayings of Muhammad, to justify traditions. You recall, even Waraka, a companion of the Prophet, had people so many at her home that Muhammad appointed someone to call them to prayer. If a woman of old Arabia could have that honor, why not now? But they do not cite that bit of history. They send a scholar to guide you, meaning follow them. You see the danger. Your voice has become a tool. Eyes watch your words. Ears wait for your praise. You feel the desert wind whispering warnings from the dunes of time. It speaks of those who climb too high, only to fall. Queens and commoners who used wisdom as a weapon, who awakened envy in powerful hearts. One evening, the minister of your ruler invites you to his tent. Candles blaze against the wind. You're nervous, but as soon as you begin the adhan, the minister's stern eyes soften. He declares himself your pupil in faith. For days, he quotes your verses to his council, transforming arguments into parables. But quietly, others plot. A tribal chieftain tells his men, "She glows at dawn. She must have jinn blood." They think to arrest you for witchcraft and loyalty to foreign gods. You awaken one night to horses outside. Guards knock at your door. The minister has fled in fear of your bond. And now they call you Oracle. They take you into custody for your safety, or so they claim. You're torn away from sleep, from prayer, from the wind's stories. In a dim jail cell, you press your ear to the stone. Outside, footsteps and whispers. "She was a blessing," one sighs, "but not for our world." Moonlight filters in. It's windy. A distant voice on the breeze returns. Perhaps a memory, or perhaps the wind itself, softly chants verses of mercy. You join in, a gentle rebellion. Your own call to prayer in the darkness. At last you sit back down in your own familiar room. The night's dreams fade like the stars at sunrise. 4 ancient lives have danced through your mind. A boy with his lantern, an olive tree's tired wisdom, a city boy naming stars, and a girl's clear call across the desert. None of them survived their stories wholly unscathed. But here you are, alive and breathing softly, safe. You smell the cool evening air from an open window, and it reminds you. You sleep with electricity and warmth, not with hunger and fear. You pat the pillow. There's no pack of wild dogs this time, no rolling plague of rats. You have no bruises from struggle, no courtly betrayal awaiting you at dawn. History wasn't fair to those people. The library's walls fell. The olive tree grew old with no justice. Empires traded lives like chess pieces, and a brave voice was almost silenced. But you are grateful. Lie back now. Know that their nightmares have ended, and in the comfort of your own bed, you get to dream again. Their sacrifices allowed your peace. Tonight, be thankful. You're one of the lucky ones. Good night, and sleep well.